Welcome to another episode of Fluently Speaking with your host, Rod Fluellen. Today's episode will be in a slightly different method as I will be the only one providing insight on today's topic. Last episode, I was honored to have one of my brothers, Jermaine Mack, on as a guest. During that episode, we was able to discuss fatherhood. If you have not watched that full episode, I highly encourage you to go back and watch it as he provided great insight on fatherhood. During that episode, I was able to ask Jermaine several questions, in which three of the questions will be a focal point for today's episode. Question one: do you think fatherhood today is different from your dad's generation? My simple answer is yes. I truly feel like society has done a great job of crippling our children by giving everybody participation trophies. I truly feel like that undermines real achievement. When everyone gets a trophy, genuine effort and excellence aren't distinguished. In fact, it creates an unrealistic expectation. Children are growing up today expecting recognition simply for just showing up rather than for performance or growth. This can make it harder for them to handle rejection, failure, or even constructive criticism. I also think participation trophy discourage resiliency. If failure is never felt, kids don't learn how to bounce back, adapt, or improve. Remember, losing is often a better teacher than winning. Participation trophies also helps develop a sense of entitlement. Unearned praise can teach children to expect rewards without effort. This entitlement can show up in school, relationships, and within the work settings. I also think participation trophy confuses the role of feedback. Trophies usually imply that you did well. However, when every kid get a participation trophy, that implies you did well even if the performance was poor. This blurs the lines between encouragement and dishonest praise. Participation trophies also provide the opportunity for kids to miss the opportunity to develop a growth mindset. Yes, participation is valuable, but recognizing effort, progress, and perseverance is more powerful than just handing out trophies for simply participating. I also think social media is another factor that contributes to fatherhood being different today in comparison to our dad's generation. As we know, on social media, everyone looks successful, but we know that it's only a handful of people who really are successful. So, with that being said, social media does give the youth a false sense of reality. Question two: what's the hardest part about being a father? This question really provided opportunity for me to do a deep dive within myself. And after thinking about this question for several days, I came up with my answer. So, as a father, we work to give our kids a better life than what we had. But the more we work, the less life or the less time we spend with them. Fathers are often torn between being present and being providers. Many struggle to be there emotionally and physically available while carrying the weight of our financial responsibilities. I also feel like realizing that we are burnt out and realizing that we need to rest is also a hard component about being a father. In addition to, many fathers come from broken homes. So therefore, we are trying to break a generational cycle by simply being a parent without having a healthy fatherhood model for us in our home. And that leads to uncertainty, guilt, and constantly second guessing ourselves. And another thing that I've had opportunity to think about in terms of fatherhood is fatherhood provides opportunity for you to see your worst habits mirrored in your child. And it's like facing yourself in its rawest way. I can remember clearly when I fussed at my son about doing something, and my wife put me to the side and reminded me that I do the exact same thing. So, parenthood exposes your insecurities, your triggers, and your wounds. It forces you to reckon with who you are, not just who you want to be. The third question: how do you navigate cultural expectations of fatherhood? Now, before I get into my answer, I kind of want to talk about some of those expectations that the culture has put on fathers. Yes, we are supposed to be the provider. Yes, we are supposed to be the protector. Yes, we are supposed to provide more guidance. Yes, we are supposed to be the leaders of the household. And yes, we are supposed to be the coach or mentor to our children. But it's two things that culture expects of fathers in which I truly disagree with. The first one, they expected us to be emotionally distant, and they also expect us to put our own dreams on hold for our children or wives without complaining. Those last two components or characteristics I truly want to focus on. I have two teenage children. My son is 16 and my daughter is 13. And to this day, I still hug and kiss them on their cheek all the time. I feel like it's extremely vital for fathers to show their gratitude and love via hugs and kisses on the cheeks and just showing them some type of appropriate emotional affection. Now, when it comes to fathers being expected to put their dreams on hold, I also disagree with these characteristics. I feel like it's very important for fathers to set goals and chase those goals and or dreams in front of their children. I also feel like it's very important for fathers to show their kids the failures along the way. I didn't say give up. I said failures. I feel like that provides the opportunity for your kids to learn or see the value of refusing to give up, the value of bouncing back, the value of being resilient. Believe it or not, your children are like a sponge. So therefore, they watch and learn from your every move. And somewhere down the line, they're going to also face failures. They're going to also face a time where they have to bounce back, and they're going to remember that time where their father had to bounce back. They're going to remember the time where their father didn't give up, and as a result, they're not going to give up. But I want to go back to something I said earlier, and that's recognizing when you are burnt out and in need to rest. This is something that I have struggled with and still kind of continue to struggle with, especially with how the economy is today. My mindset is on go all the time. I'm in grind mode 24/7. Why? Because I have to provide and I want to provide a better life for my kids than what I experienced growing up. But I kind of want to talk about where did that whole hustle culture and grind mindset come from? To me, at its core, the hustle culture is an evolution of the American dream. The idea that anyone can succeed through hard work. But what if the grind isn't the path to greatness? But what if it is the road to exhaustion? So I'm going to talk about my struggle with burning out and what I have learned to do to overcome that burnt out. First thing I've learned to do is to accept my burnt out without judgment. Being burnt out isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually a biological and emotional overload. So give yourself permission to pause without feeling guilty. Remember, rest is not a reward. It's a prerequisite for clarity and recovery. Number two, stop trying to push through. When motivation fails, pushing through won't save you either if you are depleted. Instead, focus on taking real breaks. That means no phone, no strolling, without people. Just go by yourself, meditate, pray, do whatever it takes to make sure that you get a real break. Also, never underestimate the importance of sleep and nutrition. I know those last two may sound basic, they are fundamental in terms of recovering energy. So, you will be surprised of how better you feel once you incorporate fruits and vegetables into your daily diet. Number three, reevaluate your why without forcing it. Now, I know as soon as you type in the number one motivational speech ever, the first thing that speaker is going to say is identify your why and know your why. But sometimes your original why stopped working. And it stopped working because A, you've outgrown it, or B, it lacked emotional connection to you now. So therefore, I asked myself, who am I now? And what do I actually care about now? Number four, learn to celebrate the small victories along the way. In order to eat an elephant, you must take one bite at a time. Therefore, it's very crucial and important for you to learn to celebrate your small victories, as every step is a part of the process to being successful. Number 5, talk it out loud. Burnout often lives in your head through looping thoughts. Say your frustrations out loud to a friend, therapist, voice memo. Just know that hearing your words can break the echo chamber. Number 6, redefine progress. When your why is weak and your energy is low, you have to redefine progress. And you can be doing that by simply learning that resting is not a bad thing. Learning to say no. When your tank is full, learning to say no is a very, very vital component of helping you empty that tank. Number 7, allow a new season to begin. Sometimes you're not meant to return to your old motivation. You're meant to evolve into a new chapter. Burnout can be a brutal teacher, but it's also a threshold to reinvention. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Fluently Speaking. I'll see y'all next week.